Good evening, everyone. Welcome to round 8 of our FPRL Season 9 Championship. Tier three's turn, of course, it's a Monday night. I'm Cruiser 1872. We all know how this goes. Please welcome, very briefly to the stream, Monkey Boy Kurt.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once again. Round 8 of 10 of Season 9 Tier 3. Surely going to be another thrilling race as we've seen many weeks, obviously, now so far in this tier. Suzuka is where we're at. One of the most iconic tracks in Formula One, known for a lot of championship wins, obviously previously in real life, the final race of the season. But we've got 17 runners tonight, and let's see what's going to happen. The two Haas boys of Destroyer and Remaster currently leading the way, with Destroyer on 122 points and Remaster 22 points back on 98. So the championship can't be won tonight if Destroyer was to win and Remaster was not to finish. There'd be 47 points going into the final two races. But I'm sure it's going to be another cracker. I'm sure that me and you, Cruiser, are going to enjoy once again watching it from the comms.
That we do. Suzuka, as you say, I'd argue one of the four pillars of the Formula One calendar. That's how good this track is. And Tattoo Star saying that he's going to use qualifying as a practice session, and you know what, fair enough. We all do it at some stage, and this track you definitely need to get the practice in. This, for me, is up there with Catalunya in terms of getting consistent around a lap, because that first sector, endless left and right, and then the final sector, it's only a couple of corners, but you need to absolutely nail them. So we're going to jump on board with Rainbow, racing for the first time in a while actually tonight. And of course, one person hoping does well is of course the Tattoo Star, father and son, driving, I wouldn't say quite driving side by side, but we'll have a look for the future of the race. So Rainbow going to be the first one to set a lap, followed by Sheriff Woody, and that is Major Allen. There is the Tattoo Star exiting the pits. Got to be careful to not filter in line of his teammate. Turn 1, if pit lane filters into turn 1 quite awkwardly. Now through the S's section of turn 6, and then turn 7 around there goes the Aston, who's a bit of the inside curb, and then the Dunlop corner of turn 8. So easy to run wide, as you can tell from time trials. And then end of sector 1 before the first of the Degner corners, Degner 1 and Degner 2, so easy to invalidate, taking it just that little bit too far wide, which Sheriff Woody just about avoids to not do. And then up to this hairpin, there's one of the McLarens going out the way, looking to be Reese's Pieces, and the Williams there of Sid Sandwich, keeping well out the way, is the Williams driver. And now through sector 2 up towards Spoon Corner now for the Aston, a corner that throw it to the left and it tightens the more you go around it. Wait till you get the throttle and away you go, and from here on out you just rinse and burn whatever battery you have left before 130R, a corner that you can take flat out in these cars. If we jump board with Rainbow, just a slight flick of the wheel to the left hand side, 190 miles an hour. So expect a few brave and somewhat foolhardy overtakes going through 130R. It's not impossible, it is just a lot of trust and faith in fellow racers. As Rainbow navigates the final corner, a 32.0, Sheriff Woody a 29.8, and it looks like Major Allen, who would be next up, abandoned that lap because the Tattoo Star is up and running. Let's jump back now a little bit. Button going through the first sector, a couple of drivers actually getting ready for the first run. There is Reese's Pieces, and it looks like it will be Locker who is next up, followed by Wizard of Oz. David Lawface, I think, might have hit some problems there at the hairpin. Indeed he has. He's invalidated that current lap, so he's abandoned that very quickly. Has the Mercedes driver, their teammate Major Allen, actually completely abandoned their lap in the pits. Locker, there's a 30.1. That's actually a decent effort, that, from Locker for a first attempt. And we'll keep an eye out a little bit further back for Wizard of Oz in that Alpine. Must win tonight for the Alpine driver, no doubt about that. As long as Destroyer, not putting the hoodoo on him, but might as well try, has a poor performance, Wizard of Oz will look to be there to strike and gain as much ground as he can. And a 29.3, that's a good start in terms of getting pole position, because around here, overtaking is so difficult. Only the one DRS zone in towards turn 1, and even at that, that's a near enough a flat out corner, which gradually tightens in towards turn 2. So the best position here, you ideally want to get the front row.
Indeed they do. So the first few coming through, I saw that Locker there, and he was using about 60% of his battery was left, so he could have used a lot more on that lap, so I think he can go even quicker. The Tattooed Star is out on mediums, and he says in the chat, first message we've had today, so from the very start, I'm going to let comms know that I'm going to do a few laps of practice. I haven't had no practice this week, so we might see him on a medium run for about 2 or 3 laps, just so he gets used to the track, and then we'll probably see him go out onto the soft tyres a bit later on in the session. But obviously this track, on this game especially, but it's always been known for its obviously sweeping sector 1, and if you get on those curbs around here, it's going to fly you off instantly, so you've got to be very, very careful when navigating this circuit. As we see Sheriff Woody there, is he going for another lap? I think he is going for another lap. Yep, Sid Sandwich has come across the line. He's gone up into 5th position with a 30.4, and I think we've now got coming across the line, have we? I think it's Wes de Vos, and he's going to be on a cool down. So who have we got coming along now? We've got the Godfather starting his lap. We've got another Mercedes coming up. That's David Lowface. Let's see what Mr. Lowface can put in for his first lap of the session as he comes around the final corner. And he gets a little bit squirrely out there. It's going to be a 31.5 now for David, and that puts him up into 6th place. We've then also got a Haas coming through. That's going to be starting his lap of Destroyer, the championship leader. So he'll be looking to do more of the same as what he's done throughout the whole season and have a good qualifying. Obviously, it was his teammate Remaster last week that was on pole position. But Tattooed Star's coming around again. Is he going any quicker? Yes, he is. The 30.7 on the mediums. That is not a bad lap from him. It looks like he's already trying to find his stride around this track on the medium tyres. As Sophia goes up to 4th as well with a 29.9.
Good effort that from Zafir. He's just got to manage that battery as the flow on a 29.0. Take that, he says. And he was denied victory around Monza was the flow, but he's finally starting to find that level of form that we know he can do. And I think Destroyer is probably either one of 2 things right now in that crash helmet. He's either looked at that lap time and said, okay, give me about 2 minutes and I'll put the jaw on the floor, or number 2, what on earth was that? But my hunch would be for the championship leader is, okay, watch this. As around Spoon corner he goes, very nicely done. Keeps it in 5th gear just to keep the revs down and then pin it down towards 130R. But again, it's just about how much ERS you want to use in that deployment, because it is a very long straight. It's a 11.9 and just throw it to the left. Be careful not to be too tight because you will bottom out. And then the final chicane, so easy to be greedy on the inside. Brilliantly navigated there by the Haas. Low on fuel, but high on hopes to extend his championship lead tonight. And that's the start he wants. And ideally, where he wants to start the race, a 28.782. Like I said, Joe was on the floor, and now Destroyer has said, alright, you've had your games. Now let me have my turn. As there's Major Allen struggling again, and there's Remaster not electing to finish this lap. So it looks like he's just going to get a bit of a sighter run in, it seems. J Undisputed, one of 4 drivers yet to set their lap, along with Speedy B, who is going to be starting his lap in just a few moments' time. Obviously, Remaster doing a doing a prep lap, and Major Allen invalidating his current run. So we'll see what J Undisputed can do. Another driver hoping for a couple of straps to pick up on against the Haas duo, as there's Remaster. Certainly a 48.7, we know that is not what he can do. As J Undisputed around the final chicane, quite nicely executed there for the Williams. He has had a couple of moments this season as he gets mightily close there to that inside Armco. Just trying to find thousandths in this lap time, and obviously it's helped him because he's ahead of the RB of Godfather and slotted into a nice little sandwich here between Button and Godfather, both of them in the RBs, and Button, yet another driver, hoping for some straps to pick up on this evening. As who else do we have? We've got 3 drivers left for the run. Major Allen going through Sector 2 right now, Speedy B starting his lap, and Remaster just ahead of the Major in that Haas going through the hairpin, and there's Major Allen in the background there. As around Sector 2 up towards Spoon, this Haas he's had his moments in the season, but ultimately that's a bit light there going in towards Spoon. Just tighten up, and then foot to the floor, and away you go. Now it's, yeah, pretty much the final half of this lap, even let alone final third, is foot to the floor and hope you have a decent enough straight line speed. And he's kept it above 185. So it's not the fastest we've seen going through 130R, but it's enough as the flow has just said, okay, I'll have that back. A 28.5. Could 2 push laps actually be the way to go as Brewmaster beats out Destroyer on a 28.7? Are we finding something here that we didn't expect? Is 2 warm-up laps the way to go?
Potentially might be the correct way to go here. Obviously get a lot of heat into the tyres, especially going through sector 1, and that might be what some of the drivers are doing. But yeah, the flow going up to a 28.5, outdoing Destroyer, and then just after Remaster going in front of his teammate by only a few thousandths, 9 thousandths to be exact. He slots up into second place, but now we've got Speedy B coming round. He's abandoned his lap as well, so only 6 minutes left of the session and no time yet for Speedy B. But the Wizard of Oz is coming around. He's 7 tenths up. This is going to challenge the flow in first position as he comes out of the final corner now. Can he take provisional pole? And he can't quite, but he's around about a 10th behind. And would he now try and give potentially his teammate a bit of a tow down this straight as Speedy B will look to go again? There's a few drivers that I don't think have probably got their respective times in yet. So Speedy B, Reese's Pieces, I think are a couple. Reese's Pieces is now on to his second run as well. We've now got 6 minutes left of the session, and as we now look down the field, who else have we got going? So Major Allen, he is on another cool-down lap. The Tattooed Star is now out onto his set of softs, so he's had his practice on the mediums. Now we'll look to try even climb further up that grid, currently in 12th position. FPRL Locker looks like he's coming around on a fast lap, so we'll go on board with him, and we'll see what he can do. And as we're going on Bob Lock, we can then go back to Reese's Pieces afterwards. So the Sauber coming up to the end of Sector 2. Time he's puts it in to 12.8, 76 thousandths up. So he might, if he has a good last sector, potentially gain maybe 1-2 positions potentially. But let's have a look as he comes through the final corners. Use that hot lap, use that overtake to the line. You've still got so much battery. Where can he go, Luca? He improves by a little bit, but it's not quite enough to get him up to any higher. Still stays P11, and said that Reese's Pieces now with that lap of 28.7 goes up to P5. We've now still got a few drivers coming across. One of them being Speedy B. What can Speedy B now do? He goes up into 6th place as well. So you're starting to see a few more better times now as we enter the last 5 minutes of the session. People will be coming now on their in-laps for a fresh set of tyres to go out for the last run of the session. One of the drivers also we need to probably keep an eye on is the Tattooed Star. As I say that, he's spun at turn 1.
Easy done, especially with the lack of practice, but I suppose he knows now the limits to not be pushed going around to turn 1 and turn 2. They'll jump down towards Sid Sandwich, currently 14th, and one of 3 drivers in the 38, well, tell I, 2 drivers in the 1 minute 30s. As that's one thing you want to avoid, is taking too much curb around sector 1. Just let the car roll in towards turn 6 and then through the Dunlop curb now at turn 7 and up to the end of sector 1. What's this going to be for Speedy B? It is going to be an improvement of 4 tenths. The track is ramping up, but is it going to be quick enough in this run? Because if he keeps this up, that's going to put him up in 12th ahead of Zafir, who's actually had a pretty decent qualifying lap so far, but there is still time for improvement. And looking through the midfield, even a couple of tenths for the likes of Locker and Zafir will put them in the top 10. G Undisputed a little bit out of place in 9th, and Button a bit down in 8th. But again, Speedy be up in 6th, and that, we've seen a lot of that Alpine just 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, just in that midfield, keeping himself honest, and I'd argue probably the benchmark for in terms of just, as we said last time out, in terms of just being consistent throughout Tier 3. No bad performances, no great performances, just solid throughout a championship. But I think next season we'll be looking for that step up instead of going from consistency to championship chasing. So Sid Sandwich around the final corner looking to chase in a top 10, and he is currently just in 9th place inside that top 10, ahead of his teammate G Undisputed, is up by 6 tenths going into this final chicane. So as it stands, Sid, will enjoy 9th place for a little bit longer because G Undisputed is going to round the final corner and put himself up to 6th in a 29 flat. Still half a second though behind the flow. And that's roughly where you'd expect Jay to be, even if this isn't one of his stronger tracks, as he's thrown it a little bit deep there towards turn 1. But I have a feeling right now this is going to be one more somewhat push lap just to get himself enough time for a final run and just get that battery recharged. He won't have enough time to pit again as everyone else spills out. Who is actually going to run? Major Allen's in a lap, we'll keep him to it because we know what happened last time. We hyped him up around Monza, it didn't end well. Zafir's on a run, but that is going to be to get himself set. Sid Sandwich is going to take the same approach. Button is on a lap, so keep an eye on that RB as everyone else filters onto the track. Button up by a tenth and a bit in sector 1, so that doesn't seem to be the problem for the RB driver. And Major Allen saying as well that he keep ruining their lap in sector 2. Well, you know what not to do on this lap is there's a yellow flagger in sector 1 that looks like it is an Alpine just keeping out the way of everyone, as you'd better be careful because there is a Sauber on the way through, presumably of Locker is the only Sauber in this event, who'd have thought. The Button up towards Spoon Corner, throws it to the left, a little bit straight, dives to the left hand side again, but that battery is not looking too healthy here for the RB driver. This might come back to haunt him around the final corner unless he gets a nice slipstream there from that Haas ahead of him, which looks like it might be Destroyer. How convenient that these two fought for a victory last time at the start of the season, and now he might be giving himself a helping hand to get himself up the grid as Button around the final corner. Is he into the 28s? He is, and he's beat Jay because of that, so it's 6th place currently for Button, and that looks like that's all he's got for this qualifying session.
Yep, that will be all he's got because he won't be able to get the battery recharged now. That will be at least 6th. It might be lower for him. So everyone now coming on to their final runs then, as we see Jay Undisputed into the box. He's out of fuel. That is all it was going to be then for Jay. He will not improve any further. But the Godfather's coming round and he goes up by a 10th. But it's only up to P11. I don't think he actually improved there, so no improvement there for him. As we see now, the Championship Leader Destroyer starting his lap. Now we've got a handful of cars now, all coming towards the finish line all at the same time, trying to see who's on out laps. The Flow isn't, and the Flow is going to go again. Looks like he must have made a mistake. Wizard of Oz now starting his lap. Speedy B now starting his lap. And the Tattooed Star starting his lap. So now, who do we look for? Who's the first one to come across? It's Sid Sandwich will be the first one. And as he comes across, is he going to improve on 29.5? He's not. He's just going to be a bit slower than that. Zafir, the next one, 2.5 temps up. Can he go any higher? He can't quite. He goes faster, but not higher than David Lowellface. Now we've got Roommaster. What can Roommaster do? The pole sitter from last week. He's 3 temps up. Oh, and Wizard of Oz has been disqualified. But Roommaster takes provisional pole up to a 28.3 there. And knocks obviously the Flow off that. So we'll look down now the grid again. Major Allen coming across the line. He's going to finish up where he did. David Lowellface is down by 2 temps, and I don't think there's going to be anything for David. Well, he improves by a little bit, goes up to, just improves on 10th position. Reese's Pieces now also coming across the line. Currently in P4. What can he do? He goes up to P2, leapfrogs his teammate, and now we see the rest of the drivers come in.
That's so unfortunate though for Wizard of Oz. I think he just lost the rear over in turn 4, and obviously the game's decided he parked on track, or he can't rejoin the track because he has to spin the car around. But Locker, what can he do? Can he improve? He does improve, up to 10th! Good effort that from Locker. Destroyer doesn't improve, he remains 4th. So now it's down to Speedy B, but the Flows are across the line. He doesn't improve by enough. Roommaster's on provisional pole. Speedy B doesn't improve. Last up Sheriff Woody, but he's not going to improve either. The Ferraris are done. And when it matters the most, it's the Haas that steps up. But it's Roommaster once again stepping up when it matters. He knows he's playing catch up after that diabolical, no other word for it, sorry Roo, after that event last time out at Zandvoort, and he knows this has to be only one way, and he is on the number 1. He's on pole position for tonight's Tier 3 Japanese Grand Prix, but they McLarens gradually throughout this season, ironic, they've been getting faster and faster, and this is what they would expect from themselves. 2nd and 3rd, and Destroyer's got some work to do this evening, down in 4th. So once again, it's a story of Haas versus McLaren, but just a little bit too late, I think.
Well, we saw Destroyer down in P8 last week, and he came up to win the race, so we know what he's like in the race. He does rise up through the field, but it is the Haas's and the McLarens that are the front four, with the Haas's in first and fourth and the McLarens in second and third. Reese's Pieces in the end, pipping the Flow, who was obviously on provisional pole throughout the first and second runs, but he had a good one last week as well, Reese's Pieces. He now finds himself third in the championship, so we're definitely now starting to see the championship contenders all up there fighting for that winning position. I'm just looking down the grid there. Speedy B had quite a good qualifying for him. Numbers better in the race than quali, but up in P7 for Speedy B, so that was good. I'm not sure what happened with Wizard of Oz getting disqualified. Obviously, that's not ideal for him. He drops now down to the back of the grid in 17th. But also, shout out to Sid Sandwich. A top 10 quali for him. Starts from P9 with his teammate Joe Undisputed starting P6. Now, obviously, coming towards now the start before the race, a little bit before the race. What tyres are people going to go on? Are we going to see anyone go for a bit of a bold strategy? Are we going to see any soft starts? Are we going to see any hard starts? I think soft starts around here, for the nature of what Japan is like, would probably heat them up far too much. So I'm probably going to expect we're going to see a lot of medium and hard runners to start this race.
I am severely disappointed we don't have any jelly car physics in the grid. Actually, I tell a lie. Look behind that little storage case in the bottom right of your screen. You can just about make out a shaking, just a shaking F1 car. I think, ironically, that might be Button. Certainly someone with one of the red rollover hoops. I think it might be Button, actually. Major Allen has got one word for his lap, and it's not pretty, much like his efforts in qualifying. But I suppose what qualifying doesn't win you a race. Crossing the line first wins you the race, and he's tipped us a drink for our troubles. Thank you for that, Major Allen, and thank you for being considerate with the commentary team. But I suppose what isn't considerate is the drink of choice. So for me, it's a bottle of water, But Monkey Boy Kurt, we know what you're like in terms of your drink selections tonight. So what's on the menu tonight? I think he's got cold. He might have cold feet in terms of sharing what his drink selection is. Let's just play it safe. It's gonna be a bottle of water as well. I keep getting these names mixed up. I am cancelled as G Undisputed, or I'm fairly sure that's G Undisputed. I always get the names mixed up. I apologise. Thoughts in the cockpit. Imagine this game added the physics where tyre on tyre collisions flings you up in the air. No comment, especially if you're Mark Webber. Major Allen saying pleasure for the drinks. Thank you very much. And yeah, it's just, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? Because I don't know. Because it's been a long day. I'm tired, but Tier 3 always puts a smile on my face to cap off what has been a very, very busy Monday. Yep.
Well, I've just realised I was muted, which is why you didn't hear me before. Oh. I need to go and get a refill, but it was tonight. It was a nice Kraken and Coke Zero tonight, and I'm just about to go and get a refill. So while I'm doing that, Potato Star has just asked how you are, Cruiser. So I'm gonna let you answer that.
Yeah. Oh, how are you doing? As I said, I play it safe and get a bottle of water, but no, there you go, a Kraken and Coke for Monty Boy Kurt. And a Tattoo Star saying, how am I doing? I'm doing very well, thank you very much. It's the Mondays. We don't like Mondays. But this is why I do like Mondays, because I elect to be commentator for all that, as Silverside Boy has chipped in with the Monkey Boy comments. Indeed, while he's off getting his drink, we raise a glass for 5 lights, and away we go. At Suzuka, that is an aggressive start there from Locker, already trying to do some forward tie weaving. As what a start that is from Reese's Pieces, from third in the grid, getting the jump in both of the McLarens. As the Flow falls to 5th, Brewmaster maintains 2nd ahead of Destroyer, but Reese's Pieces, fantastic effort from him to get up into the lead already. Brewmaster once again played by these starts, and it seems like those gremlins haven't went away for a while, as Reese's Pieces streams clear through Dunlop up to the end of Sector 1. It's Brewmaster, Destroyer, G Undisputed in 3rd, heckling that Hats. The Flow in 5th, Button, Sid up to 7th. Good start from him as there's a Series getting a bit squirrely, as well as a McLaren there of the Flow on the cold tyres. Sid in 7th, Speedy, Sheriff Woody and Godfather maintains 10th ahead of David Lawfaces into the hairpin middle. There's a move there for Locker down the inside of Zafir, making that work up to 12th, trying to make up some of the ground that he's lost at the start, as Zafir and Locker still don't at it up towards Spoon Corner. Locker has the preferred inside line, but the Aston is still there on his outside. Locker gives him the space, runs across the curb, but forces Zafir wide, but Locker getting the elbows out there. Not much he could have done more, and still holds on to that 12th place, as there's Zafir giving him a pretty unwelcome shunt, saying, "What are you doing? I'm coming back through." And Locker re-emerges in that exchange, down in 13th place, as we jump back up towards the front of the pack. Both of the Hasses getting in each other's way, almost tripping over each other's toes, as Reese's Pieces dances clear. 1 second already breaking that DRS, which is pivotal for next lap, as the DRS is activated, as there goes Button just ahead of the squabbling duo of Sid and Speedy V. That might be another tale of two towards the end of the race, much like last time out it was Sheriff Woody and Speedy B. This time out, it was Sheriff Woody and Sid Sandwich. This time Speedy B's decided, you know what, I want in this fight, as each of them share around about 8/10 to each other in 7th, 8th and 9th. But as it is, Brewmaster, he's got to get the foot down quickly, otherwise Reese's Pieces might not be the only worry he has tonight to catch up. He's got to keep ahead of all of these cars behind him, still in this DRS train, down to around 15th place, that being the Wizard of Oz, making up a few places on Major Island and Rainbow.
Yeah, what a start from Reese's Pieces. Obviously got Remaster off the line. Remaster channeling his inner Lando Norris last couple of races, losing positions off the start. And yeah, not ideal for the pole sitter, but he only goes down to 2nd at this point. He was 1.3 seconds behind Reese's Pieces at one point during this lap, but it looks like Reese's Pieces made a mistake, and now he's back in that DRS. But we're looking down the tyres quickly, and there's only a few hard runners. There's one of them is the Flow, who's getting overtaken by Button as they go side by side through 130R. Button does make the move stick there, and there's a bit of a gap now between Jay and Button, 1.4 seconds, so potentially these top 4 can try and run away and have their own little race here. As we see now, Remaster, he will have the DRS going down the main straight. Is he going to have a go? No, he won't. He's not nowhere near close enough yet to Reese's Pieces, but he does get the gap now down to 3/10. Also interesting to see that the Wizard of Oz down in now P40, overtaking the Tattooed Star, going for the hard tyres, so going for the long stint. Maybe he wants to pit later than everyone else and hope for a safety car in between the medium runners pitting and those hard runners pitting.
Sid Sandwich in a manner of trouble here, as in towards Dunlop. He's already lost out to 7th place, as the Flow gets a 3-second penalty already on the 3rd lap. Terrible start for him in terms of penalties, as there's Sid Sandwich. He is in terrible trouble here because he's lost his front left end plate. He'd lost it in an exchange with the Flow, braking a bit too late, getting a bit confused as to where the McLaren was going to go, just missed his braking point, and away goes that end plate. He's now down in 13th place, and that is a major task ahead of him for this race, as now the Flow still struggling on those hards, just not getting him heated up yet, because Speedy V's now wanting to get past him as well. Button 2 seconds behind the top 4, as there goes the Flow trying to defend against the Alpine, but the only thing that's going to help him there is the battery that he's got in stock. We'll get the battery uses are up on screen real quick, as there's an exchange for the lead here. Reese's Pieces has made a mistake going into the chicane, and Brewmaster's got a jump on him, and I think Brewmaster has the DRS as well, so Reese's Pieces is in terrible trouble in towards turn 1, could be overtook by both of the Hasses, and he is. Reese's Pieces from 1st, now down to 3rd, and losing the DRS in towards turn 1, and also his teammate the Flow now down in 7th place after starting up in 3rd. We'll have a look at our positions graphic. The Flow down 4 places. Reese's Pieces after that great start now down by 1, but you can manage that battery now unless Destroyer decides to play team games. But I tell you what, I wouldn't do that too quickly as your teammate's closest one to you in the championship. As Brewmaster now back where he started. Destroyer's up 2 places doing what he's had to do. Biggest loser at the start is undoubtedly Sid Sandwich down 8 places and a front wing change for that Williams, but the Flow, a close candidate there, down 4 places, but granted that is due to the tyres he started on, as Reese's Pieces now looking to make amends and get back ahead of Destroyer as quick as he can. But confusingly as well, what I will say is that both of the Haas's are on a similar strategy, unless one undercuts or overcuts. If there's a safety car now, one of them's going to have to wait, and I don't think it'll be Brewmaster, so Destroyer could find himself in a little bit of trouble here, unless he makes his pit stop early. But of course, for it being the first race this week, this is a bit of an unknown for all of us in terms of how tyres will heat up, how they'll cope. But I think for the Flow, it's why did I do this? Because he's actually ghosted there. I think the Flow is the Flow is suffering on those hards. He is not in the groove at all, as around he goes again. This time it's now David Lawface looking to size up a move, as further ahead from one McLaren's misery to another McLaren's fight back. Reese's Pieces now up to 2nd place, getting ahead of Destroyer. Sophia now getting ahead of David Lawface. We can just about see them going through Dunlop, as there Sophia runs a little bit wide. Locker almost pushing David around turn 2, and that is looking to be a very tasty fight there, down in 10th place in the final point in this race, and one of them looking for a point to prove. Sophia hasn't had much luck in this category. David Lawface, a previous winner in this category, and so is Locker, but still, all of them looking to get as many points as they can in the championship, which is what Destroyer's looking for as well, because as it is, that gap, which was 22 points, is now almost cut in half. But granted, it's only lap 5, still a long way to go, and hopefully for Destroyer's case, he doesn't end the race the way it is right now.
No, we're looking to try and get back into this fight for P1, and he's now gained some more of that battery. He was down to about 11% at one point this time in the last lap. He's now back up to around half, so he's going to try now and get back at Reese's Pieces. He doesn't want to lose that DRS though, and he is gaining on this straight, back up down to about 6/10, so he's definitely got the speed down here. I was just saying as well, Button was obviously 2 seconds behind a couple of laps ago. He's really got his foot down and took advantage of these front guys in front of him fighting. He's now back right up behind J Undisputed in P5. But Reese's Pieces now, will we see another overtake for the lead? He hasn't got that much battery though, is the only thing, Reese's Pieces. He's really drained it already, and are we going to see him move into turn 1? We're not going to be out quite, and I think if Reese's Pieces had a little bit more battery going down that main straight, he might have made a move on Brewmaster, but on this occasion he won't be able to. Brewmaster though at the moment held the lead, and he's got a lot of battery in hand, 90%, almost a full battery Brewmaster's got, so you know, just needs to try and keep that and only use it when obviously Reese's Pieces is attacking, but Reese's Pieces down by only 10%, so he really needs to try at some point and get that recharged. Obviously Destroyer P3, JP4 and Button P5, and now we've got the 2.5 second gap back to Speedy B, who's not really got a car around him. He's got 2.5 seconds in front, he's got 1.5 seconds back, and you've got this battle for P7, Sheriff Woody the Godfather and the Flow, who seems to have now, maybe those hard tyres have just took a few laps to get up to temperature or get up to grips. He's not seeming to drop back as far as he was doing at the start of this race. As we come into the end of lap 6, or towards the end of lap 6, it's once again Brewmaster only 3/10 ahead of Reese's Pieces, but he does have all that battery to play with. Reese's Pieces now trying to gain some back, but not really working. He's only on 14% still, and I wonder, is he going to be able to make a move down into turn 1? The gap as he enters the exits the last corner is about 6/10, and no, I don't think he's going to. If anything, we can see Destroyer potentially here re-overtake for 2nd place maybe.
Neither of them looking to be using a battery though, and Brewmaster just using a little bit ounce by ounce just to stretch that gap where it matters. There's a move down for 7th place. Godfather in towards turn 1, getting ahead of Sheriff Woody. The Godfather overtaking the Italian, who would have thought? And up to 7th place now for the RB. Next up for them is a 2-second gap up to Speedy B, who, dare I say, along with that consistency, seems to have a bit of no man's land around him, as there's a collision involving the Flow. Just as it was looking up and looking better for them, it's a harsh reminder that when your luck's not in it, it shows for the Flow. qualified up in the top 3, and that strategy to start in the hards has been a major miscalculation, as there is actually an exchange here into the hairpin. Button getting a little bit brave now against Jay, but they've got to be careful, as that DRS gap could eradicate quite quickly, as Major Allen. Less said about this event, the better, to be honest. It's been one of those nights for the Mercedes driver. Their teammate David's still up in the points, but he's dropped a 2-second gap to Zafir, so he's looking to claw that back quite quickly, as he's got Locker and the flying Wizard of Oz looking to catch up and make amends after, dare I say, a bit of an unfortunate disqualification in qualifying. Kind of out of his control, because he would have actually been in second place himself, or at least in the top 5 at a minimum. But this gap here between Reese's Pieces and Brewmaster is much closer than it was in the previous lap. But that battery still not looking as healthy, as there goes Button making the move in Jay. Jay's not really fighting that, but Brewmaster ensuring he does defend against Reese's Pieces, and that battery, which was around 90%, is now looking to be 60%. As there's Sheriff Woody making the return against the Godfather, and this offer you cannot refuse. Says Sheriff Woody, I'm having back 7th place and you're doing nothing about it.
Yeah, the Godfather definitely having a better race tonight. We had a very strong end to Netherlands, but he's looking like, obviously qualified a bit better tonight round here, and he's looking like he's going to hopefully hang on to some points come the end of this race. Obviously it's still early days, but he's currently, as I say, it gets really wide there, and almost throws it into the gravel, but manages to keep it on track. That definitely would have been a warning for him. But he's sitting all right in P8 at the moment. He's got 3.5 seconds behind him to Severe in 9th position. And it looks like now Locker has made the move on David Lowface for that final Hunt's place of 10th. And Wizard of Oz now also trying to have a go at David Lowface, but can't get past him right now. We'll go back to the front. Destroyer's dropped off the front too. He's now 1.4 seconds behind. He will not have DRS. And we now see it's Reese's Pieces. Just needs to get the last corner really, really like smack bang on perfect, and then he can get the exit out of it. As I say that, he does. He gets a good exit there. 3.5 tenths is the gap. I think we're going to probably see a move for the lead here. Or is Brewmaster going to use all that battery? And that's what he's doing. And even with the DRS, Reese's Pieces can't do anything. His battery is just far too low. Brewmaster doing very well here with the extra battery he's got, keeping hold of the lead, even with Reese's Pieces in DRS, and he goes a bit wide there, and the gap's now back up to around half a second.
We jump back to this fight now for 10th place. Wizard of Oz still not able to get by David Lawface, but you just see too how much more confident he is in traction zones, as up towards turn 6. Wizard of Oz is definitely the quicker of the two here, but he just can't find a way past. David doing a good defensive job, just keeping to his line, but goes a little bit too wide, gets punished because he's got a bit of front right end plate damage, and David Lawface, welcome to the Cruiser Penitentiary, because you've just been cursed, mate. Anyway, moving swiftly on from that for my own sake, because I'll probably get fired from league management, or at least from the comms team at least. On lap 9 of our race at Suzuka, sorry David, Brewmaster losing the lead at the start, but is back and still having his 2-horse race, a titanic 2-horse race for that matter, between himself and Reese's Pieces. Destroyer, our championship leader, starting to fall into the clutches now of Button and G Undisputed. That is the fight for third, as Major Allen again compounds the misery of his evening, as there goes Wizard of Oz making the move on Locker, looking like that is just out of the traction zone, going around the exit of Spoon Corner, and this is now Reese's Pieces' best chance. He's now right behind that pass, and after losing the lead on lap 3, this is his time to retake the lead on lap 10. Down the inside he goes, and finally retakes the lead that he gained on lap 1. Reese's Pieces back into the prime position and top spot around this Suzuka circuit, but Brewmaster now, he can afford to recharge that battery, which he has to some extent. 9, he's got a full battery now. So was that just a bit of a possum move from Brewmaster, making it a bit too easy for Reese's Pieces?
Well, I mean, Reese's Pieces now, he's going to have to try. I mean, what I would do, he's got a bit wide through that corner there, lost a bit of time, but what I would be doing now is Reese's Pieces. It's very hard to overtake on this part of the track. Why don't you just turn the battery off, gain a bit more of it back? And that's what he's literally listening to me. Look at that, he's literally turned it off. He's going to gain some of that battery back and try.
Worry though.
Oh, it's the worry though, he's done it too early, and Brewmaster comes straight back through, but now at least Reese's Pieces has got a bit more battery to attack down the main straight when he does get the DRS. It's back up to 40% now. They're 2 seconds ahead of Destroyer, and Button is fast approaching. Could potentially go up into the podium places if he gets a good exit out of the final corner, but I think Reese's Pieces is right behind now. 2 tenths behind Remaster, and now he's got a bit more extra battery. I think we're going to see another swap for the lead, and then when we're going through the twisty section, I think that's when Reese's Pieces has got to turn that battery off and gain it all back. He uses the overtake, and there he goes, going back past, and Jay Undisputed has got a 10-second speed in the pit lane penalty, and a bit of an early stop if you ask me. Lap 11 of 27. But is that a sign that we're going to see most of these medium runners coming in the next lap or so?
Well, for David Lawface's case, that is what he's doing. He's in the pits too, but if Reese's Pieces, that's exactly what I was going to say. Put that battery on not, going around sector 1, because there's nowhere really to overtake unless they are brave around Dunlop or even around turn 6 around the outside. I've seen it happen before, but it's just very, very rare. But lap 11, he's got that lead back. But that to-in and throw-in that they've done has allowed Destroyer just to keep that gap at 1.8 seconds. Speedy B's dropped back now 3 seconds to the duo of Button and Destroyer. Of course, Jay pitting, but that 10-second penalty is certainly going to play to them for the end of the race. Speedy B can just keep up with that Williams. He has a chance at getting that top 5 back at the checkered flag in around 17 laps time. But on lap 11 of this Tier 3 Japanese Grand Prix, and the penalties right now, I will say this, we've seen plenty of penalties at the start. There was Button, that is an almighty slingshot in towards 130R, and away he goes. His Destroyer's also got wind damage. Just seeing that there from the broadcast camera as Brewmaster once again gets ahead of Rita. Oh my
contact!
God! I think that's Brewmaster just losing it in the exit, but that looked far worse than what I think it actually was. But Brewmaster very lucky to keep facing the right way. Is that wind damage? No, it's not. Very, very lucky to not lose any end plates there. A major mistake from the Haas driver as Reese's Pieces now retakes the lead, and this seems to be a force of habit now. He just lets Brewmaster go just to take the DRS back off him, as there's an almighty man at pit stops right now. Zafia's in the pits, so is Locker, Sheriff Woody, Button diving into the pits, thinking of an undercut now against the top 2, and that will have definitely helped his cause, with Reese's Pieces and Brewmaster tripping over each other around the final corner. So Button now, he knows what he's got to do, and that is pin it and try and catch up. But I say that, Jay Undisputed has got a huge undercut on that RB. I make that around a 2-second undercut to Button. So if Button knows if you can keep the numbers, as the flow puts more misery to his race. 2 seconds, and Button was only behind by around 1.7. This might be a bit closer here than what the top 2 would hope for, and even Destroyer could find himself in no man's land as well.
Well, I think Destroyer will. Obviously, Button got past Destroyer just going into, before he came into the pits. That's what he did. He made the move and then came into the pit lane. So now he should definitely go ahead of Destroyer when they come into the box. And Reese's Pieces has got the battery off again on none. And is this the time to pull the pin? Yes, it is. Remaster stays out again. But I've got a feeling here that Button is really going to do well here and get a good undercut. There's Reese's Pieces and Destroyer into the box. Reese's Pieces onto the hards. There they go. And he's been held a little bit there, as Reese's Pieces. And that's going to really affect him. And I think Button now can potentially, he's coming down the main straight now. Is he going to get out ahead of the McLaren? The McLaren now just coming out of the box. It's going to be tight between this, but I think he's just about going to make it. But it's a lot closer than what it was. Those tyres got to get up to temperature. And Jay Undisputed, obviously now with a 10-second penalty, right in behind Reese's Pieces, and Button not that far behind. I think Brewmaster staying out an extra lap. That's not going to do him any favours whatsoever. Destroyer's now got his wing changed, and he drops behind the likes of Sheriff Woody and Speedy B. So it's going not that too good at the moment for Destroyer, but Brewmaster needs to be in this lap. And I've got a feeling he's going to come out behind Button and Jay, and then Reese's Pieces is going to have a 2-car buffer between him and Remaster.
Might just all be falling into place here for the McLaren driver. Because of course Jay, 10-second penalty himself, and Flo could even find himself being a bit of a chess piece himself. I wouldn't exactly call him a pawn in all this, but he's going to be of some use to his teammate. Maybe get a bit of DRS off him, maybe try and back up the likes of Jay and Button, because the Flow is capable of doing that. It's just not been one of those nights for the McLaren driver, as we'll jump up to our race leader, Brewmaster, and he carries on. I think, yeah, that is definitely signalled that he's going to go for the fresh tyres approach and just hope for his case he can catch up towards the end, as there goes Godfather diving into the pit lane. Wizard of Oz will carry on along with the Tattoo Star and the Flow, all of those three starting in the hards. I wonder where Godfather will emerge. Will he be out ahead of Sheriff Woody or even ahead of Speedy B? Because both of them going around the final chicane now. Both of them are actually quite close to each other. As we'll jump down towards this Ferrari. Got the leader graphic up. Brewmaster has a 20-second buffer, which actually hasn't really came down too much. As his Godfather leaving the pits, he's going to be out just behind Destroyer. So that is now the state of the undercut, because this Godfather was fighting Sheriff Woody, and in 2 laps he's lost about 5 seconds. Put that now into perspective for Brewmaster. That 5 seconds and you're around about a 20-second pit stop. That's now put him behind Speedy B.
It will do, as we see Major Allen off at the last corner, famously where Prost and Senna have had a coming together back in '89, and I don't know what on earth he's trying to do here. Just get back on the track, it seems. But here he goes eventually into the box. He's lost some front wing, and I'm wondering if Major Allen is going to retire here, or is he going to keep going? He's going to be almost a lap down by the end of this, and comes in, will keep going, goes on to the medium tyres. Now Brewmaster coming up to the pit lane. Is he going to come in this lap? No, he's not. This is going to be a medium soft strategy, it looks like. So a very bold strategy from Brewmaster. The gap to Reese's Pieces is 18 seconds. I don't think Reese's Pieces is gaining that much, to be fair. And if Brewmaster can hold these tyres out for maybe another 2 or 3 laps, he could be in really good contention.
Contact!
To really be quick at the back.
And Reese's Pieces and Tattoo Star. Reese's Pieces getting tripped up behind the Ferrari, and he's lost a bit of his front wing. Tattoo Star looking to make a pit stop. Reese's Pieces looking for the overtake, and they both went right at the same time. Reese's Pieces losing his end plate as well. It's all just falling back into place here for Brewmaster, and a strategy that we even questioned ourselves looks to have reason due to the traffic that these drivers have to navigate. So Brewmaster might, for all he says that he's playing a bit of chess, he might be playing a bit of 3D chess here, while everyone else is just in a standard chessboard.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Speedy B is another driver. We know how good he is in the races, and he's looking very well, actually. Only 3.5 seconds behind Button, and I reckon Button's probably going to be net P2 after we see Brewmaster come into the box. Obviously, we'll have the Flow and Wizard of Oz have got a pit. Then we've got Reese's Pieces. We've got Jay next, but he has got that 10-second penalty, so he's going to be obviously falling a bit behind. But Reese's Pieces staying with his teammate. He's going to give him a bit of a tow down this straight. Will he let him through? And the answer is yes, he will. Now, will he cut in front of Jay? And he will do. And he might try and create a bit of a gap now between the pair of them. Oh, as Jay goes for the move, what a dive it is! He can't quite pull it off, and he gets another 3-second penalty fight in there, and that's probably what the Flow want to do. Major Allen's retired in the box. I think is he just got stuck in the pit lane, or?
No, I don't think so. He's just, I think his car just may have lagged out. Wouldn't surprise me with this game, honestly.
But yeah, Brewmaster definitely trying to go for the medium to soft strategy. Now lap 16. The question is, when is he going to box? And on that lap, Reese's Pieces only gained around about 8/10. So this is really falling into play for Brewmaster. Button, who's obviously got a full front wing, only gained around about half a second to 8/10 as well. So it's really looking good here. There's a yellow flag out. That's going to be Major Allen's car coming out. And is it going to get in the way of his teammate and Sid Sandwich at the back? It might do. They just about get around it. But yeah, very looking much like Brewmaster's race here. The alternative strategy of medium to soft looks like it's paying off.
We'll find out soon enough, because he's going to have a lot of work to do to overtake these cars. And as we've seen from Reese's Pieces, and as we are seeing from Destroyer, having a trying little battle here with Sheriff Woody. Sheriff Woody doesn't have to move out the way. He's made his pit stop and is actually, despite the front wing change for Destroyer, he has undercut him in the pit stop. So Sheriff Woody currently in 8th place, and only a few drivers yet to pit, as Wizard of Oz is pitted now from the next second. The Flow is currently up in 4th, but is yet to stop as well. And of course, a race leader, Brewmaster. 16 laps on a set of mediums, obviously definitely committing now to a soft tyre strategy, or maybe a light safety car, as there goes Destroyer, knowing he's got to get the move done as soon as he can, and even well before the end of the pit lane. He's up now into 6th place, and now he can chase after Speedy B, as Wizard of Oz exits the pits now just ahead of Godfather, and Wizard of Oz, that is an almighty stint from him. He started at the back after a disqualification in qualifying. He's now up into a net 8th place. So a tracking effort from him to get back in the points, as we'll stroll through. 17 seconds is the gap between Reese's Pieces and Brewmaster, so around half a second a lap, even with all that fighting and a bit of battle stars to show from it for the McLaren driver. He's good luck. That's all I'm gonna say, because that Haas on a set of softs, and did I say maybe around lap 22 he'll be in the pits, but 5 laps in softs. Granted, they fall away quickly. It's like somebody's intentionally eroding them from the inside out, as Brewmaster is in the pits. So this is now enough is enough, and this Haas is going to need to get the best pit stop service of his life. Someone call up Guido for this tyre change, I'll tell you that. Reese's Pieces will retake the lead. The Undisputed will take 2nd place, so Button will go in 3rd. Will he be out ahead of Speedy B, as there goes the softs? He's got 10 laps to manage them to the end. If he gets out here in a net 4th place, this is going to be massive here for the Haas driver. As down the pits he goes, Speedy B powering towards turn 1. We can see Brewmaster ahead of him, and that is a net 4th for Brewmaster. He's made his pit stop later, 7 laps later for perspective, against Jay. He's got 13 seconds in penalties though, does the Williams, so he's not really a factor. Can Brewmaster A, make these tyres work, and B, catch up to Reese's Pieces and hold on?
I think he definitely will. Where he'll see all of the advantage will obviously be through Sector 1. The sweeping left and right handers on the soft tyres will be so much better than those worn hards now that the front 3 are on. And he's already gained around a couple of temps on Button. That's even before they've got up to temperature. So, and look at how much he gains through the hairpin. Literally gains around about a couple of temps or 3 temps just in one corner. So it definitely looks like it's definitely looking up for Brewmaster. Now he's got what, 1.7 to Button. Button will have a bit of DRS from Jan Disputed, but he's gaining all the time. 1.6 now. And I really think Brewmaster has really played the blinder strategy here, as David Loweface is off in the back, down in 15th, not having the best race tonight. Obviously his teammate's already retired, so the Mercedes boys really having a bit of a stinker. But Reese's Pieces comes across the line, starts lap 19, and the gap between him and Brewmaster is 3.7 seconds with 8 laps to go. And and there goes Button. Button overtakes Jay. And didn't really need to, because obviously Jay's got I think it's 13 seconds of penalties with that. Yes, it is 13 seconds of penalties. But Brewmaster really catching up now. But Speedy B doing well, actually, to keep on the end of him. He's just around. He's in DRS. So Speedy B definitely here, potentially trying to fight for a podium.
He's guaranteed at least 4th place here as the Alpine, especially with Jay's penalties. He's just got to keep the 0 himself, because Destroyer is still behind him, as Edo's Rue right behind Jay Undisputed. And using those soft tyres, Jay knows it's a mismatch, even with that front wing damage, as Brewmaster gets in the curb, gets a bit squirrely. Jay's going to fight this as long as he can and as hard as he can, forces that Haas against the curb, and behind Speedy B looking to pounce. But Jay now realises it's not... Is it worth the fight here, Jay? Is it worth the fight? You're losing time, you're cascading down the order anyways. Brewmaster with a switchback around Spoon and is up again into the podium places. But for Speedy B now, he needs to get back past his Jay Undisputed, rinsing everything. fighting for everything, trying to keep ahead as we go to go 3 wide potentially, in towards 130R. Brewmaster around the outside, still there with G Undisputed, wheel to wheel, side by side, mano a mano. Down at towards the chicane, there's a slight tag there from the Williams, fighting for everything he can to try and limit the damage, but sometimes it's not worth fighting it to maintain the damage. As Brewmaster now down the main straight, he's going to suffer here without the DRS, as Jay might be doing Reese's Pieces a favour here, holding up the Haas and that Alpine of Speedy B, because now behind them, Destroyer's going to get in DRS range as well. And with that fighting actually, Jay is now at risk of dropping down to 10th or 9th place at least, as the Flow gets back in a points position ahead of Locker, and Zafir too, he could be on for a point as well in this race.
I mean, theoretically, Jay doesn't have to get out of the way for Brewmaster, but he's on worn tyres. He's got wing damage as well. He's got 13 seconds of penalties. You would have thought that he wouldn't make much of a fight of it, but he's making it so hard for Brewmaster, and Brewmaster is now dropping back on the leader, and it makes it so difficult to get past, and Speedy B's having to brake as well into their hairpin extra. Reese's Pieces is absolutely loving this, what's going on behind him. At one point, Brewmaster was 3.7 seconds behind. He's now 5.3, and those soft tyres are only getting more worn and more worn as we're going on. And because of Jay, Reese's Pieces could potentially now have a chance of still winning this race, as now Brewmaster, we're going to go through 130R again, and we're going to have the same as the last lap. Surely he won't hold it there. Oh, and Brewmaster's gone.
Rue's gone! Oh, that could have been avoided so much long ago.
He's going to be absolutely fuming with Jay. I can see, yeah, I could definitely see a clip going in here. The safety car is out. And look at that. Reese's Pieces has met the safety car, and everyone else is pitting. No. This is a masterstroke from the people behind them.
Bottom was able to pit, and because of that, Bottom was able to pit. And Wizard of Oz now from last. He made his pit stop no more than 5 laps ago. He's now in 2nd place. Tell you what, though, public enemy number 1, G Undisputed for the Haas team.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah, Brewmaster is going to be absolutely fuming with that. And yeah, Jay, like I say, he had the penalty, he had the wing damage, he had the older tyres. He's not teammates, he's not getting lapped. Really, he doesn't have to let him through. But even with all that being said, Brewmaster will be absolutely fuming with that.
There is a limit though to how much you can fight. That's all. That's going to be my 2 cents and a penny on that. There is a limit to how much you fight, especially considering the hand that you have got. And I think really for Jay, that was one hand tied behind his back, but he had Brewmaster in a chokehold. But with one flick of a wheel, literally around 130R, not even just this race, this championship has turned on its head. As it is now, Destroyer is going to be 32 points clear of his teammate in 2nd place. He will extend his championship lead as it stands to his teammate, but not to Reese's Pieces, because as it is, Destroyer will be in 130 points, Reese's Pieces will be on 95. So, as I tell you, he will extend his championship lead by a couple of points, because as this is, Reese's Pieces closes up to Brewmaster, who once again fails to score, and at least this time, through no fault of his own. But look at... oh my goodness. We've got a driver who qualified in the front row, leading the way. We've got the driver who started in last, and Reese's Pieces is taking the hit. He is taking the hit, and as this is actually, I tell you what, I think it's worth it, but he's not changing his front wing. Is it worth the hit though? Because that might find him down in what I would imagine to be 10th place as the Tattoo Star goes by. Not bad for no practice, you find yourself in 9th place, and it will be 10th place for Reese's Pieces. Not changing that front wing, is it worth that pit stop? But as it is, Wizard of Oz, let's just use this as reference. Last place from a qualifying disqualification, leading the way with 6 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Obviously, the safety car's played massively into his hands. Obviously, he is on 5-lap mediums compared to everyone behind him. on softs, apart from Sheriff Woody, who's opted for the mediums. I don't think that's really the right decision, though, because they've only got 5 laps left. And I don't even know if the safety car will be in this lap. It all depends if Rainbow can catch up. But I think the softs are definitely the best tyre to be on here. So Wizard of Oz is going to have to give it his all to try and keep the likes of Button, Speedy B, Destroyer behind. But yeah, obviously to come up from last, to be now leading the race with 5 laps to go is an immense achievement. All down to obviously Brewmaster crashing, and what a change that does to the championship. I mean, I think Brewmaster was thinking, I'll come up on the soft tyres, get into the lead, win the race, gain some points on my teammate, and make it, you know, an interesting fight going into the last 2 rounds. And potentially now, Destroyer's got a lot more breathing space, especially if he can, you know, if he overtakes the Wizard of Oz and maybe even overtakes the guys in front of him as well. He could gain a whole full lot of points here. It's not over yet. But are we going to see a late coming for the safety car? I don't think we are quite. Yes, we are. A late safety car.
Late.
It's going to come in now.
And I think if you Wizard of Oz, you just stick to the back of the safety car or limit the damage. But one thing I would do is get out of 5th gear, because that is not going to be a good start, or at least a good restart. But regardless, the start-finish line's about to arrive, and away we go. Backs him up before the slingshot, and that's been a fantastic slingshot from Destroyer. The perfect timing from him. He's going to look for 2nd place in towards turn 1. He's down the inside. There's a 3-wide in towards turn 1. Destroyer down the inside, but Speedy B fancied his chances down the middle, straight into 2nd place. And Button, who was 2nd, getting caught out now down in 5th as Edo's Reese's Pieces in the flow, trying to salvage what he can from this race. Defeat an 8th Godfather and Sid Sandwich back in the points in 10th place. And it's an Alpine 1-2. Speedy B right behind Wizard of Oz, but will he let him through? Is he going to let him through? He's going to pull to the right-hand side, but not yet, as there's Destroyer. This could be a huge step forward in a championship fight, and could even be the championship clinching race. Although mathematically possible, I don't see a way back for Brewmaster. If Destroyer wins this, Edo Speedy B with a fantastic slipstream and traction out of the hairpin, still fighting with his teammate. Both of the Alpines want this, but who wants it more? It's Speedy B! Finally into the lead of the race, and Destroyer follows him through. Destroyer now 2nd place, and my mate that now in the championship, 40 points in advantage for the Haas. And Brewmaster, though happy for his teammate, what could have been.
Yeah, I think now as well, look how much battery Speedy B's used on that lap, and Destroyer has hardly used any. This is going to be the Haas taking the lead, surely, once again. If it's not this lap, it will be the next lap when he gets DRS. But the Wizard of Oz didn't really help his teammate out there. He was never going to keep the lead on 7-lap-old mediums. And here goes Destroyer, the championship leader, back into where he's been 4 times this season, back into 1st place. Is this going to be a 5th win out of 8 for Destroyer? Absolutely, you know, he has had some luck, let's be honest. In some races, you would never have thought he'd be leading this race around 5 laps ago, but he's back up into 1st place, and now it is him versus Speedy B. Wizard of Oz, Sheriff Woody's actually up to 4th place on those mediums. He's doing an absolutely stellar job on them, and he will have a go now. There's fighting going on at the back there between Reese's Pieces and Button as well. The Godfather and Sophia also trading places there, but at the moment, it looks like Destroyer and Speedy B, the battle for the lead at the moment, as now we've seen 1.5 seconds the gap between 2nd and 3rd. Button now fighting with Sheriff Woody. They're going side by side. Now Reese's Pieces trying to get in on the act as well on Sheriff Woody. And Reese's Pieces on the grass. And he almost loses. He almost touches his teammate. He does touch his teammate.
Oh dear, it's all going on at Suzuka.
This is absolutely brilliant. And yeah, 1.5 seconds still the gap between 2nd and 3rd. But look how close Speedy B is to Destroyer. This is not over yet. Can he overtake him down to turn 1? He probably should do, because he's got now DRS.
He was denied victory in Miami from a Haas, and that day it was Brewmaster. This day, could it be Destroyer? The other Haas who denied Speedy B his maiden victory, as if round the start-finish line for 3 more laps of this race. There goes Wizard of Oz, conceding 3rd place to Button, and now his eyes are set on his first victory this season. And Sheriff Woody doing everything he can to hold on and limit what will be 5th place. So there goes the flow, gives them the elbows against the Ferrari, and in turn gives Zafir a little bit of that love back as well. And Godfather now down the inside at turn 6, making the work in Zafir, and up now into 7th place, which will become 6th after the Flow's penalties as Locker has retired in the pits. That might have been from front wing damage from an earlier incident. And one Alpine fighting for a podium, one Alpine fighting for victory. And like I said in Miami, it was the Haas that stopped him that day. But will it be deja vu, or will it be the maiden victory for Speedy B? He's been in this position before, and it's fell short. Destroyer's been in this position before, granted without much competition in some instances, but that Alpine will give him more than a run for his money for the next 2.5 laps.
Well, it's definitely 3/10 the gap. He doesn't want to use too much battery load going up to the run-up to the last corner and with DRS. And I think he's using a bit too much. He wants to try and get close, but he also wants to conserve it for the straight. And with DRS, Destroyer has 65% battery, doesn't want to use too much of it. They go through the final corners now. Speedy B, we've got 2 laps left to go after they cross the line. And is he going to be able? He's using too much of that battery. It's not wise to use that much. And Destroyer now is making a gap. The gap's now about 4/10, even with DRS. And I think there, Speedy B's got to try and hang on to the back of this Haas. He's got to try and get a bit of battery back as well. It's going to be difficult for him. He needs to make sure that he's got probably at least half a battery going into the final corner, and then he can maybe attack the Haas. But all Destroyer's got to do is try not use it much as well. And the gap now is, look at that, it's over a second. And I think that might be the race done.
Speedy will give it everything he's got though for the next lap and a half as we jump back into this fight for 6th place. Sheriff Woody doing what he can, and he's going to become 5th place after the Flow's penalties, who, to be fair to the McLaren, has recovered well, but the damage was done at the start for the Flow, as that's a very bad line there for Godfather, who's now just dropped himself into the clutches of that Aston Martin of Zafir, who's drove a fantastic race so far to keep himself in the points. Sits Sandwich and Reese's Pieces in 10th. We'll jump back towards the front. It looks as though Speedy B's tyres have gave up on him, and that gap now 1.8 seconds between himself and Destroyer, and it might just be deja vu from Miami, as around 1:30 for the penultimate time, Speedy B looks set for 2nd place. But this man Destroyer doing what he has to do and doing what he wanted to do from the start, as he's got one more lap to go, and dare I say it, one hand on the trophy already, as down towards turn 1 as Speedy B trying to break the slipstream here, weaving quite aggressively, because that is a fantastic run from Button to get himself into 2nd place. Speedy B, what were you doing down into turn 1? Almost like he surrendered that 2nd place and just said, you know what, Button, I've had enough of that, you want it instead. And Button says, you bet. And he's now just completely left that Alpine standing.
Yeah, I have no idea what happened there. I think he might have even got on the grass and it slowed him down a little bit there. But Button now has P2. Speedy B still fighting his hardest to try and get back up into that 2nd spot. He's got his teammate now behind us, a yellow flag at the back. I think that's Rainbow and the Tattoo Star going off. But Destroyer, look how much he's pulled away in these last couple of laps. He's now got a 3-second advantage, and it is definitely going to be, as long as he keeps it on the track, win 5 out of 8 for this Haas man. And yeah, it's also going to be a 48-point lead, 47-point lead in the championship with 2 races left to go. Pretty much over. He just basically has to not score the last 2, and Remaster will have to win them both. As are we going to see an overtake going up into 130R? Are we going to see it? Has Speedy B got the pace? Has he got the pace? He might have it, you know. He's going on the outside.
Oh, he's coming at the wrong time. What a save from Speedy B. Mr. tossed him a few places though. What a save from him. But you can save this into the album from Destroyer. Already celebrating like he's won the title. Not yet, but it's a huge victory for Destroyer. 5 times in Season 9 for the Haas driver. Embracing that victory with his teammates and his colleagues at Haas. 5 times for a 5-star driver. Destroyer wins in Japan. Button will take 2nd place. Wizard of Oz from the back of the grid to a podium. I take my hat off and tip it to you, Wizard of Oz. Fantastic effort for him. Speedy B wasn't meant to be for him. He takes 4th, and the Flow's penalties will drop him down the order as well. That's one hand in the trophy and one finger in the air, the index pointing to the sky, signifying number 1. And Destroyer, indeed he is looking to become that number one, and not just in first place, the number one of Tier 3.
Yeah, what an end to that race. It all happened, obviously, from that safety car that was caused by Jay and Rootmaster, and we got an absolutely thrilling last few laps there, but Destroyer finds himself on that top step once again this season, 5 times out of 8 races. The championship is all but done now. Pretty much is his. But yeah, obviously well done to Wizard of Oz coming up from last on the grid to get that third position, get on the podium. And I have to say a big shout out as well to the Godfather. He's only been in the league a few races, but he can't from P12 to get a P6. And Sophia as well. Let's have a shout out to him. I think one of his best finishes, I think, in the league, up from 13th to 7th. Definitely a good race for the Aston Martin. But yeah, a brilliant last few laps. It's Destroyer on top again. And Button up in second from P5. Well done to him as well. Surely we will get some words out from the top two at least, and hopefully some through Discord for the Wizard of Oz.
As it is, and what could have been, at least the Flo gets the fastest lap after that nightmare start. But oh goodness me, what an ending! And like you said as well, a big shout out to Godfather and Zephyr, equaling their best performances. I say equaling, getting their best results in FPRL this season, and ever since they debuted in the league. Said sandwich with a drink and Drink Redemption 2. Thank you for that, and cheers to Tier 3 for a fantastic event once again. And this might, I said at Zandvoort, that might be a title-defining victory. Tonight, indeed, was a seasonal comparison one, if you will. Brewmaster getting the strategy right, dare I say, but the timing of it was wrong. As we'll head to the showroom for the 8th time this season, goodness me. As we'll see if we can have a quick word from, indeed we will have a word from Button as we'll get the Alpine up on stream. And there is Destroyer. I'll see if I can get a word from Wizard of Oz through our Discord server. But in the meantime, let's admire the Alpine and how ridiculous it is to sack Esteban Ocon. Anyway, let's head off to the RB. And Monkey Boy Kurt, I pass the reins to you.
Thank you very much, Cruiser. Yep, so P2 today is Button, back on the podium. And I have to start off with quali. I think we'll be honest, obviously, from your pole positions at the start of the season, quali hasn't obviously been maybe as good as you may have hoped in the last few races. Obviously, P5 today around this track were you confident coming into today? Were you hoping for a bit better than P5 on the grid?
No, I was happy with anything I've got. No excuses, but I hurt my ankle the other day and I'm having trouble with my accelerator. So I did say to David in the party I might not make a full race, but I just cracked on with it. So no excuses. That was as quick as I could go today, really. I did mess up my second run, so I don't know, but I think that was about all I had, to be honest. It's just not going well at the moment in qualifying for some reason.
Well, regardless, obviously, of quali, obviously we got started off in the race and the first stint, obviously you're on the mediums. We were just sticking with, obviously, the front pack and got past Destroyer just before you came into the pits. And it kind of did a bit of an undercut, really, on a few of the drivers. Got yourself into a good position. And then, obviously, safety car comes out later on in the race. Quick manoeuvre to come into the pits and get on the softs. Reese's Pieces obviously getting caught out and going through. Great decision from you, and everyone else followed suit. Those last few laps of the race, obviously very, very, very nip and tuck between everyone. Were you hoping that you could maybe challenge, obviously, for the win?
Yeah, I did, to be honest, because as the safety car was coming round on its last lap, that I didn't know it was its last lap. I was sitting behind Wizard and I thought, well, I can probably get Wizard here on these tyres and hopefully you'll block the others behind me. But the safety car said it was coming in as we came out of the last chicane. And I wasn't really aware of what I was doing. I didn't have my ERS on properly and everyone, I think 4 or 5 went past me, I believe. So I really made a mess of that. It was just such a late call. I wasn't expecting it to come in. But then I just ploughed on and tried to get as far up as I could after making a mess of that. I guess it's my fault, but I've never known a call that late before, not coming out the chicane. But there we go.
No, it
It could have
definitely
been
was a
better.
late call. We definitely was a late call. We weren't expecting it really either. We thought it was going to go around again, but literally before the final corner, it did come in. But obviously, you made some ground up. Obviously, that final lap, I don't know if Speedy B got on the grass a little bit, but he didn't have really any pace going down the straight, and he made the move up to P2 and kept it, obviously. You're now sitting with 18 points today, and it puts you up now, I think, to 85 points, which should leapfrog you ahead of Reese's Pieces. So it should put you up into fourth in the championship. So another position gain from fifth today. I think for you now, obviously, though, the championship is done. Mathematically, you can't obviously catch now Destroyer. So you're going to the last two races, just trying to get as high up as you can in the standings. We head to Singapore next week. How are you around there?
I love Singapore. I think it's a brilliant track. So hopefully I'll get back on it a bit back next week. Fingers crossed. I'm looking for a good race. Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, fingers crossed for you. You can obviously maybe get a pole position under your belt there, maybe.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
obviously, no, great race from you, P2, and yeah, you
Thank
can
you.
definitely be proud of that. Cruiser, if you've got anything to add, obviously, but I'll hand back to you for our race winner.
I've just about got my breath back from the ending of that race. But Button, congratulations,
Thank
second
you.
place, and a good step forward to second place in the championship. As we'll head back to the Haas, and I feel like it's going to be a tradition at this point, really. Destroyer, 5-star performance and a 5th win of the season. And we've done our numbers up in the stream as well, 48 points ahead of your next closest rival. So surely now it's all but over.
I must say this win was sheer luck for me, I would say. I think that safety car pretty much came at the right time for me. But yeah, firstly, I made a big mistake by choosing the wrong setup by mistake. I only realized it when I went out. I might have misclicked on some of the setup and loaded it. So, and then I got a damage from Reese's Pieces at the entry to the chicane because he was recharging. I didn't realize that he was going to break, and then Brewmaster overtook him. Oh my god, that first stint was a big struggle. I don't know how I managed to just stay behind them by 2 seconds. I was losing so much in the SS. Yeah, but I'm very happy that I got the win. Just need to have one more clean race and get those 3 points.
That's pretty much it as we head to Singapore next week. But just want to go through the start of that race as well. Obviously, with the front wing change, it did play its part in that pit stop. You dropped down, if I'm correct, to 12th place behind
Mm.
Sheriff Woody, and we've seen too from a few drivers that just navigating that traffic. It's so difficult around here, especially with the fact that those in front of you did make the pit stop. So at what point did you think that you were just fighting for whatever points that you could get?
I think it was as soon as I got my wind damage, I realized that if there is no safety car, then I think it's yeah, it will probably be that I have to fight for some points, whatever I could. And then even on the straight, when I overtook Sheriff Woody, I think I got an illegal overtake because someone had retired in the pits and there was an yellow flag there. So I had to give the place back, stick behind him for an entire lap, and then get ahead. But I think the top 3 or 4 were cruising, and then when I saw Brewmaster was like right, jumped ahead of Sheriff Woody or ahead of Speedy. I think that's when I was like, okay, I think he might go for the win. If his softs die, then there will be a big 4-way battle. So just try to get as much as points as much as possible. So yeah, it was then that I kind of realized just lucky that we got the safety car.
I suppose when you're, well, as I said in the start of the race, when your luck's in it, it shows, and when your luck isn't in it, it shows as well. And it seems like that's been quite apparent throughout the season for some people. But as we head to Singapore next week, knowing it could be a coronation night for the Haas team, both in the Constructors' Championship and the Drivers' Championship, obviously we know we know throughout the campaign it's been a bit stop-start to begin with, but now it is very much full throttle. So will it be taking it a little bit easier in Singapore, or will you want to cap it off the same way that you've been for the past few races?
Um, I like I said, I will just drive the way that I am driving, so I'll obviously go for the win. But it all depends on how the race pans out. Just like today, I didn't expect it to be this difficult. That's why I'm saying that I think today my win was basically sheer luck. I just got the safety car at the right time, and I think whoever the leader was at the time made a mess of the restart, which actually compromised Button and Speedy, which is why I got a great start to the turn one. I think if I was probably P4, I really didn't have the pace to actually make an overtake, because in Japan you need at least 2 to 2.5 seconds uh, lap time difference, lap delta, to actually make a overtake and keep it sticking there. So yeah, but Singapore is a good track. I wouldn't say the best one. Uh, yeah, hoping for a good race, but I think I will also keep an eye on the championship as well, because probably this is my very first championship since F1 2022. Been some torrid 3 years, so yeah, I'll be focusing on that.
Well, you've gave yourself a pretty good chance at claiming that championship for the first time in, as you said, in 3 years. So we'll leave you to get the prep and set for Singapore next week. And before we end the stream, we'll head back to the Alpine camp. We have had a quick word from Wizard of Oz through our Discord server. Of course, to join FPRL using our Discord server, type !F1 in our Twitch chat, or you can find them in our socials across social media. Our X account, formerly Twitter, @FairPlayRL. You'll see a Discord link in there, and we post all of our race results there. So be sure to check out them if you weren't able to watch the streams. And of course, live on twitch.tv/FP Racing League, where we live stream our races every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. For our Tier 3s tonight, Monday, Tier 2s Wednesday, and Tier 1s on Friday, 8 PM UK time. Be sure to join in, because as we end the campaign and as we end the year, actually, of 2024, every driver's fighting for that one final laugh and that one last victory before we put the controllers down and eat all of the Christmas pudding that we can across the New Year celebrations. But back to the Alpine camp. Wizard of Oz saying that he didn't have a slightest hope of finishing in the top 5 after qualifying, after that disqualification, saying that I was actually ready to settle for 4th in the end, hoping my teammate would get on the podium, try to help him a bit at the restart by letting him through, but obviously Destroyer got the jump on him as well. Unfortunate that what happened to Speedy at the end, and 17th to 3rd, I'll take that result any day, I certainly would. And that is going to be it for the interviews, and a thank you to everyone for tuning in and for watching on your Monday evening across FPRL this season. We'll be back on the 9th of December, where we head off to what could be a coronation ceremony around Marina Bay in Singapore. But before we pack our bags and head there, be sure to stay with FPRL this week around Suzuka on Wednesday 8 PM UK time and Friday 8 PM UK time, where our Tier 2 and Tier 1 drivers take on the Suzuka circuit. But before we end off there, Monkey Boy Kurt, you know what to do. And there's certainly a few candidates for this one. Who is your driver of the day?
Well, yeah, definitely. Once again, a few candidates, and a few of them definitely would be getting it. If it wasn't for one driver, though, and I can't really not give it to him, coming from the back of the grid to get on the podium, it does go to the Wizard of Oz today. From the back of the grid, P3. You can't really give it to anyone else, but like I've already said, a big shout out to the Godfather and Sophia, coming up from 12th and 13th to 6th and 7th. They can be very proud of themselves tonight as well.
They will. A few drivers can be happy with their efforts, and I think a well-deserved lie down for them and for us as we put our feet up and pick up the controllers ourselves for some practice for our Tier 2 race. So, Monkey Boy Kurt, on that note, thank you again for a Monday evening with your service, and I'll see you on track on Wednesday.
You will do indeed, mate. Thank you as well. It's been another cracking race to watch, and hopefully we're going to see another one next week.
That way, well, we've got 2 more races to go this season before we put our feet up for the end of 2024. But to end the stream tonight, that has been Monkey Boy Kurt.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
And take the word right out of my mouth. This has been Cruiser 1872, and from all of us here at FPRL, good night.